And we're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today we're focused on Star Trek Strange New World, the brand spanking new Star Trek TV series just dropped this week on Thursday. Everyone here except for me and Admiral have already talked about it, so I'm glad we're gonna get your talked about takes, because I'm sure you guys have developed some stronger opinions about it by now. And Admiral and I will share our shiny new experiences. Nice to have you gentlemen here. Oh, whoa. Is that Ahsoka?
This is
Braxton?
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka
Yep.
wants to bite your headphones off. But we're joined by our Dadmiral, our friend Marcelo, Braxton, and you, audience. So thank you for being here. It's so wonderful to see you. There's already quite a few folks in the audience. Look at that. We've got quite a buzz going on here. We have Arthur saying hello, everyone. Hello, Arthur.
Hey,
Cake is
Arthur.
Eternals here. Where's
Hey, Kate.
Stan? That is a question. That is a good question. I think Stan's gonna start making moves if Spock keeps going to outer space and ignoring his fiance. We'll see. We'll see what happens to Stan. We also have let's see here, Michael Strathmore's here as well. Nice to see you. And then where Stan says, "I'm an OG Trekkie. Wrote a letter to to save Star Trek campaign. Watch and comment on three TOS episodes a week. Yet am over the moon about the show. Those who say TOS fans won't like it are wrong. Yay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement.
That's
They are
awesome."
wrong.
Well, thank you. Ruben's here too. He says, "Have a great show." By the way, Ruben, I know you're doing Mother's Day, but if you want a link, let us know and we'll send you one, and you can hop on as well. Um, well, gentlemen, shall we get started with the episode summary? Do one of you fine gents want to give Starfleet Boy a little extra time to finish something in the back end and do the episode summary today?
Oh, I'm not so sure. You kept us hanging. You kept
Oh
us
man.
hanging today. We were all here waiting, but not Starfleet boy.
I'm gonna volunteer Marcelo to do it then.
Really? You
Yeah, I don't think
bastard.
you've ever done an episode summary on my show, have you?
Well,
Have you?
well,
Do you think it's been a
well, yeah,
while?
yeah, I did do one.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Back in the day when, for some reason. So in this episode, it's been some time after Christopher Pike, Spock, and Number One went through the whole, the whole fiasco with the USS Discovery hopping to an undisclosed location that we don't know, and apparently the Enterprise is at space dock being refit, and Christopher is in a cabin somewhere thinking about his career and his future. Spock is busy getting hitched and having Klingon sex. And Number One, who
Wait, sorry.
doesn't take
Klingon.
Klingon sex.
No,
Klingon. I
it
mean,
was.
sorry. Vulcan sex.
Thank you.
Correction, sorry.
And we don't.
Vulcan
And you
sex.
didn't actually have it. But anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt your summary. You're
Yeah.
doing a great job. Keep going.
And of course, Number One, Una Chin Riley is not one to take time off very, very well. So she has gotten herself imprisoned by an alien civilization who has somehow developed some sort of warp technology, and that causes Christopher, Spock, and everybody aboard the Enterprise to be thrust back into action to save Una from being executed or something like that. So that's basically your episode summary.
Dang, you hardly gave me enough time, but it's okay. You gave me some time. Great job, Marcelo. Excellent summary. So here we are, Strange New Worlds, a brand new series that just launched, and it's here at last. I love this logo, by the way. The title card for the show. It's so pretty, like the gold and the silver and the classic Trek font and everything like that. So, one by one, let's start with our Dadmiral. What did you think of this episode? You just saw it on Friday too, right?
And today, yeah, I
And
thought
today.
it was awful. Just awful. I just thought, no, not for me. And if you think I'm being realistic, you've got another thing coming.
Oh, by the way,
I really enjoy.
before we begin, one thing. Just this is not a hard fast rule. You weren't here, Dadmiral, but I decided this on Starfleet Boy After Dark. Just not a hard fast rule. If you need to do it for some reason, you're totally welcome to, but we're going to try to talk about Strange New Worlds without comparing it. We can reference other shows, but we're not going to compare it to other Star Trek shows. Just a challenge throwing out there to the panel. Again, no, and also to the audience. Again, no obligation to do it. If you need to compare it to another show, that's totally fine. But just throwing that out there. What do you think, Dadmiral?
Well, comparing it to Picard, no.
All right, carry on.
No, I enjoyed it. I think for me, when I watched it on Friday, I watched it straight after Picard, and even though I enjoyed it, I didn't enjoy it because it was such an emotional roller coaster for Picard. I just felt I was missing stuff for Strange New World, so I watched it again today, thankfully. So I saw it really sort of clarity, and I enjoyed it. I like the references to Discovery. I like that they give Pike, they humanize Pike because he's obviously, with everything that happened in season 2 of Discovery, is still affecting him. I quite like that, and I think that humanizes the character. Um, Obviously, there's the whole T'Pring bit with Spock. I feel that Ethan Pex, as I've seen on Twitter, not Ethan Peck, Ethan Pex, because of his being shirtless at the start. He seems to be getting more comfortable with the character. I think having the whole season the whole season 2 of Discovery, I think and the short treks, I think he's really starting to find his groove with Spock. Um, Obviously, we don't really get to see Una that much, but I really do. I like the new characters. I like the new take on Mbenga, and the friendship that he's already got with Pike. I like that. Um, I like the fresh take on Christine Chapel. There's going to be more coming out with that one. Yeah, even Ahura is just that bit when the bit where she turns around, she goes, "Cool," and then
Oh
Pike
yeah,
looks
at
and goes,
the
"Oh,
end, it's
cool,
really
sir." Yeah,
nice.
near the end, you're seeing a more youthful side of Ahura that we've never seen before. Obviously, because she's a cadet. So, yeah. So overall, it was a good one. I think I really got excited. I enjoyed it all the way through, but it was sort of like the last 10 minutes. I really got excited when all of a sudden you started seeing, you started hearing the captain's log. No, I know we say no comparisons, but for me, it was some more of the traditional tropes that we saw in TOS and TNG, those type of things which are to a lot of us are our bread and butter, and we enjoy that. So it was the last 10 minutes. All of a sudden, I really started to have that really goofy, geeky grin um, watching it, and I love um, Robert April. Thought he was brilliant. Thought it was brilliant to see the first live viewing of Robert April. Liked it, and as somebody pointed out, yet another uniform for me to go and get.
By the way, I'm calling Robert April the Zaddy Admiral or Zadmiral. That's like
Well,
it's a bit of American slang. Zaddy is like an older, distinguished gentleman who dresses really cool. So
okay.
he's
Dude, that
totally
dude is only a few years older than you and I, dude.
he's Zaddy on the he's got
Like
the beard.
he's not even 50.
Let him be a Zaddy. Come on, come on, Rexon. Let him be a Zaddy.
Well, in that case, all the admirals are a bit like that.
He's a Zadmiral. I love it.
Yeah. But yeah.
Marcelo, what'd you think?
I was humongously excited for this episode. So much so that usually I watch it with a friend a day after everybody else. And I gave her the option to sort of just let's forget about Picard right now and let's just go here and here. But she forced me to watch Picard because she wanted it to be over with. I swear, that's my last comparison. I loved the sort of sit down nature of this episode. I love the calm and cool conversationist nature of this episode, and not so much the pew 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 pew. I also liked most of the introductions of the main cast, but I feel that although we got to know most of the main cast, they didn't have a proper like moment in the sun to tell us what they're all about or what they would do in a pressure situation. This episode was much like a these are our main characters and we have a problem and we need to go. So I felt that I didn't get enough time with them to sort of know who they were, basically, other than Pike and Spock, which I already know. I think that my favorite character besides Unachin Riley is going to be La'an. She is awesome. I don't give a crap about her last name. I don't think that's gonna. I don't think that's gonna come up at all. I don't think that Akiva Goldsman is going to muddy the waters with that. I think that ultimately is a big giant MacGuffin, and it's a thing to really piss off canon people.
But dude,
who
she
are
took
obsessed-
that pain like a Soong
Yeah, she
would.
did.
Like
She did.
she didn't take that pain like a human. Even Spock couldn't take that pain, and he's like got really strong. He's
Yeah.
very strong. I'm just saying. I know
Right.
you're predicting a lot of stuff there. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
throw mud in your waters
No,
there. I'm just saying. But anyways,
but,
carry on.
The last thing that I really liked, one of my favorite scenes in the whole show, is after Pike gives the order to get underway. He goes back to his quarters, and you see him standing there and looking out to the stars, and Spock comes in and basically has a conversation with him, and he says, "Look, I know how I'm going to die, so how am I supposed to live my life knowing how it's going to end?" And I thought that conversation was very, very insightful because we are all going to die at some point. But I think our job as human beings is to be kind, courteous to those people who we love and to those people who we care about. And I think that is going to be Pike's journey through the series. Although I did like Admiral said, that he was suffering from the events that happened in Discovery season 2. I like the fact that he was still dealing with that, and I like the fact that Spock was the one that picked up on him suffering like that. And I also liked the fact that he was cooking in this episode. I love when people cook in Star Trek. And if next week is any indication, we're going to get a lot of cooking. So I cannot
I haven't
wait to
seen.
see.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize we're gonna get cooking. I didn't see. I don't think I've seen
Yes.
that trailer or whatever.
Yeah,
That's
we're gonna
cool.
we're gonna get a lot of cooking, and I just have a couple more things to say.
That's the bit with Uhura in the dress uniform.
Yeah.
That's the whole bit.
Yeah,
One thing I wanted to ask you, Marcelo, was
Sure.
you were saying about that it seemed that they didn't have their day in the sun. I mean,
The moment
we've been
was
lucky
the moment.
in the moment in the sun.
Yeah, the moment.
We obviously Pike and Spock and partly Una had season 2 Discovery. Do you feel though we're going to see a little bit more of their backstory as the story progresses, as the season progresses?
Yes, I have no doubt about that. But my main issue was just as a well, I don't want to say this every time, but as a storyteller, when you're constructing a pilot, it's your job to sort of give your main characters or your main cast a moment to tell
The pilot was
to
55 years ago, Marcelo.
Ah, da, 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 da. to it's your job as a storyteller to give your characters a moment in the sun to tell your audience what they're all about. And I feel, just personally, I feel that Akiva sort of just said, these are my people, I'm going to give you a couple things about them, but for the most part I'm just going to go with it. And that's fine, but that's not the way that I would have done it per se. Last thing I want to say before we kick it over to Braxton here, I loved the set design. The set design was so awesome. The corridors, the buttons, the lift, the whole goddamn ship looks so beautiful. I wanted to sleep with it. But
Marcelo, Marcelo,
hold
one of the things I was thinking about is I think this is one of the first pilots, other than the animated shows. No, even the animated shows, as a matter of fact, where it's not a it's not a two-parter, I guess. Well, I
Right,
guess
yeah.
you know what I mean. Like I feel like Disco
Hmm.
had a two-parter to start it out, and all the previous Trek series when they launched before
District did a
Disco had two-parter, right? Weren't they like not two-parters, but like 2 hour and
yeah,
more
two
than
hour, yeah.
like almost 2 hours, an hour and 30 minutes maybe. But
Hmm.
but this was just all condensed. So,
Yeah,
but I do think that like just like what they did give us was like just on
enough.
enough. It was a little bit more than Disco did, where it was just like there's all these bridge characters and you don't know who they are. At least we
Hmm.
got to like get some names and stuff like
Hmm.
that, and
Yeah,
little hints of their story. I think.
I do think that the writing on this show is going to service our main cast and the background characters a little bit better than other shows do. So I'm looking forward to that. But all in all, I thought that this was a good first effort, but it wasn't a great first effort. It wasn't a great first effort. But with all that being said, I enjoyed it so much. I really, really did.
Sorry, Braxton. I'm just going to ask a question. I know you said about is it the day in the moment in the sun? Is that what would have made it a great first first outing for you, or what else would have been to make it great?
I would have. I would have given their moment in the sun, and also I would have spent some more time with Hemmer, who wasn't introduced until the last 10 seconds. He
Very end,
beamed on
yeah.
board, and we never really met him. I would have done more. I would have done some more stuff with Una down on the planet before she got
Mm,
discovered by Captain Pike, Spock, and Laan, right?
mm.
And I would have loved to learn some stuff about our pilot Erica and our navigator. I can't even remember her name right now, but I would have I would have built them out a little bit more.
Mm.
Braxton, what did you think of the episode?
Dude, my reaction to this episode is really positive. You know, I thought this was a great setup. You know, um, I enjoyed meeting this new Robert April. You know, something about this show is that this show is so beautiful, like all around. You know, like they open and you know, like the scenery is like very nice. You know, like Captain Pike is so handsome. You know, um, Admiral April is so handsome. You know. Um, yeah, you know, I think it's off to a great start. I really don't know what to expect. I really like that the story was like short and concise. You know, no like hanging on and like you know waiting until next week to see the resolution of the show. You know, so I like that about the show. But I think it's off to a great start.
Right on. I feel, I feel like I don't have much more to say than you guys. I kind of feel like my sentiments are the same. I'm really excited about it. I'm feeling very positive and optimistic about the show just being great. I was very impressed from the start. I do think that I do think that like for me, there was enough of the character introductions. I think we got like through the action. I think we got a lot about Uhura and Chapel and even Dr. Mabenga and like the people on the bridge and stuff like that. And it just felt like very familiar in the sense that like I think that like for me personally, like an ensemble cast is like a lot better than focusing on just one character, one individual, or just a couple of characters or a couple individuals. And this show definitely seems like it's going to give us a little bit of everyone's story. I think that Leon was a standout character. She actually reminds me, I don't know if you guys caught onto this, but of Malcolm Reed a bit, like in her stoicism. And also the fact that she's like a security guard, and I don't know, they have a similar kind of cadence or way of talking, and I guess I don't know. Maybe Ian, I'm merging.
They are both British. They are
They
both
are,
British.
yeah, they
So.
are both British, but I mean, it's just like a very calm, like kind of like very
Malcolm Reed,
Mm,
serious
okay.
kind of
yeah.
way of talking, like being very direct and stuff like that. But I love her. I the first time I watched it, of course, I was, kind of focused on Pike and Spock. But when I watched it like the fifth time, I think it's like, I don't know how many times I've watched it now.
I got you beat. I watched it 6 times.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Oh, I've only watched it twice. I've only watched it the twice.
So yeah, I don't know. I've got some problems here.
We've got some problems.
We've got some problems. Marcelo and I are a little batty for this show. I really like what they're doing with her. I think she's an interesting character, and the actress is just very intriguing to me as well. I love the like extras. That's something that we saw a lot of in TOS. So we get Kyle, and we get like random engineer people in red shirts that who knows they're gonna live or die. Like it's gonna be like.
Well, I mean, they have filled this show with red shirts this time, haven't they? I mean, the whole
Yeah,
bar
actually, there's a lot.
Spock and Pike right at the start. The whole bridge was just red shirts. So
It's true.
it was.
It's true. Someone told me, and I'm not sure if this is right, if I'm remembering this correctly, but more blue shirts die, I think, in TOS than actually red shirts do, if I'm not mistaken. There's some sort of
I'm
fact
not
where,
sure.
just like everyone thinks Kirk, he never actually says "beam me up, Scotty" in the show. Not that exact, like.
Well, the
sequence,
nearest he got
stuff
was
like that.
Scotty, beam me up. That
Yeah,
I
or
think that
something
was
like
about
that.
the nearest he got. Yeah.
But yeah, very cool. So overall, it looks like everyone here likes it, and judging from the comments in the audience, it looks like everyone likes it too. It's amazing to see a Star Trek show be such a hit from the start. Like, so just about every show from Next Generation all the way till now. I think Lower Decks was the last time I saw this much of a adoption, like right away from the start, for a Star Trek show, which is interesting. So
Also, I think that the one thing that this show has above all the other current ones that we have right now, other than Lower Decks, is that it's going to be a contained story each week with some serialization among the characters. So I'm really interested to see how Akiva and his co-showrunner are going to handle that. They're gonna how they're gonna handle the week-to-week story with the underlying serialization of what's happening to our beloved characters, because that was the thing about TNG, right? Like our characters would have a traumatic episode one week, but the next week they would be like, "Oh my God, it's all fine. I got my brain
Yeah.
lobotomized and I can't remember anything." So
Well,
it's gonna
yeah, I mean
be
that was very much in TOS as well. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
one week, Uhura loses all her memory. Next minute, she's back on the bridge. The next week,
right.
so
by the way,
yeah,
that gives us like a great opportunity to do just about anything we want with Neoda, because she lost her memory, so she doesn't have to be like, so it's like really interesting.
He doesn't remember anything.
So here we have the opening kind of sequence that shows the Kylians, I guess you can call them, going in, and I love the little narration that number one is giving over this part. What does she say? No matter how many stars there are in the sky, no matter how many galaxies swirl beyond our own, no matter the mathematical probabilities or the number of times we say we are not alone in the universe, our first visit from the stars is always the province of children's stories and science fiction. First contact with aliens always lives squarely in the impossible. First contact is just a dream until one day it isn't. So, what do you guys think of that opening?
It was a really 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 well done speech, and it was really it was a good opening salvo by Akiva Goldsman. And I think Akiva Goldsman in this episode really reached for the stars as far as his writing is concerned, with Pike in particular, because some of the moments that he gave Pike and Spock, and specifically that speech that we're going to get to at some point in the stream, the very last speech that Pike sort of gives the alien delegate, the alien delegates in the Great Hall, to sort of let them realize the error of their ways and to sort of steer them down a different path, I thought was very, very effective and very, very touching.
Arthur says, good Twilight Zone opening. Yeah, it had a vibe to it, like a little bit of a Twilight Zone vibe to it. I agree. With the, like the clearing up the ship and everything, and like just the whole, like like you thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be like Earth or something. The way it was like, with the corridor, it just looked like something different, and then I was like, oh yeah, of course it's like aliens, but they're very similar to us. Jill wants to know what do we know about the writers of future episodes? I don't know anything. Marcel, did you do any research, or have you read about anything about the production going forward?
Yeah, all these writers have some foot in other. They have written other science fiction things. So Akiva Goldsman and Alex Kurtzman and Jennifer Lumet were very careful in choosing all the writers. Like some of these writers have experience writing in science fiction, so they're not so no writers on the staff are writing science fiction for the first time. So I really appreciate that.
Right on. Yeah, I admittedly don't do too much looking into the behind the scenes till after the show comes out on Blu-ray or whatever, because I just kind of like to, for me personally, I'm more into like the lore and like how does it tie into other tracks. But of course, writers do all that, so like it is important to give credit where credit is due.
Do we know if the Akutas are involved in the show at all?
I don't know, actually. It's a really good question, but I don't really know if it is. But yeah, of course, we later do find out that this is not the typical first contact scenario. Let's talk about Captain Pike after Disco, and I guess the next scene, what is it called?
Cooking.
What is it called? Bear?
Just go back. I was disappointed with the USS Archer.
You were?
It's too small.
For me, if it's got Archer's name, which is one of the biggest admirals,
bigger ship than that.
You would have thought they would have given him a bigger ship. I just thought for that one it was just a little bit.
Would Archer have wanted a bigger ship?
Yeah.
Well, Archer's not about. Well, we don't know if Archer's about, but probably not. Archer being Archer, I don't think so. I still think I think Starfleet and the Federation would have honored him better than giving him one of those ships.
Because wasn't Archer the president at some point?
He might actually have been just recently. Like he's not at this point, but like right before Disco or something. He might have been actually a long time before that. Sorry, there might have been a few presidents before him. It was like Archer was like 100 years before TOS, right? Like almost.
So we're talking
years.
about 90 years. So we're talking about 90 some odd years before.
I'm going to give myself full screen because I'm sure you know this already, Dadmiral, but that is a reference to the Franz Josef TOS Starfleet Technical Manual, and this is a destroyer class from the episode. So this is the ship I think that they based the Archer is like a scout ship, if I'm not mistaken. But sorry if I'm talking too loud. I might be a little too close to the microphone here. But yeah, I was really chuffed to see that because I remembered this ship as a kid. Not because I liked it. It's because I actually... Oh, here's the scout version of it. So it looks the same, but there's a scout version of it. Yeah.
Does it say what the crew complement is?
Let's see. Good question.
Because only 3 people were on that ship, dude.
Well, I have a theory about that. So scout ships are really small, and like there's probably a lot of automation and stuff like that. So they probably only needed 3 people to do the mission. So I guess that's the reason why. I think the reason is like Una was just chomping at the bit to go out again. She didn't want to like wait for Enterprise to get finish her refits or whatever. Her maintenance cycle or whatever. So she was just like, can we take an old ship? The Archer. Okay, cool. Let's automate it. Let's go. I'm just guessing. I don't know. There's like a lot of reasons.
Well, if Scotty can get
Audience,
the Enterprise to be, if Scotty can get the Enterprise to be, did he say 2 cadets and a monkey could do this one? I think he said, wasn't it, in Search for Spock? I think if Scotty can do that on the Enterprise, I'm sure that they can do that on the Archer.
They say in the audience, Joel saying, I think the Okudas aren't doing stuff with the Toronto shows. And then let's see here, 100% Archer gets a space dock in Disco and lame ship in Strange New Worlds. I think he's like, you know how like there's I bet there's like tons of things named after Archer. There's probably like, high schools named after Archer. There's like, official buildings named after him, space docks, ship shuttles. I'm sure Archer's got his name on everything.
Sorry, but even Space Shuttle Stamets was better than the Archer. Sorry,
You mean
the shuttle Stamets was better than the Archer for me.
only 3 crew on it, so it can't be too expensive a ship. Otherwise, they'd need more resources. Remember, it's not expensive. Archer likely died in 2245 on the day April took command of Enterprise. Oh, that's a sad thing, but that's cute too. I like that. Not cute, but you know what I mean? Like, I didn't mean it was
The
cute.
sentiment. The
Sentimental,
sentiment.
yeah. I it looks like the Saladin class is what Father says. Do they only name ships after the deceased Rip Shran? Maybe. That's a good question. I'm not really sure. But yeah. So, anyways, I liked that we got a reference to the Archer. I didn't mind that she's not like a fancy ship. I also just like the kind of I think Jörg Hildebrand on Twitter is the first place I saw this, but she's got a little bit of the Cerritos design to her pylon, you know, with the almost thing, you know. So it's cool that they're like inserting all this like design language and stuff like that. So yeah, going to Archer. Here's Marcelo. Here's your pancakes. He's watching the day the Earth stood still,
and he had some sex too. Look at that. Sorry,
he did. It's true.
sorry, guys. A little bit
You're
inappropriate.
so excited
for
about
show.
that sex, aren't you?
Yeah, we need some sex. Sorry.
But let's talk about Captain Pike after Disco. What do you guys think of this reintroduction to Pike, and how do you find him?
I like I said in my opening thoughts, I really like that in this episode in particular, we're really getting to see him open up with his trauma that he went through in Disco. But I also like that he is able to do this. He's able to cook. He's able to spend some good time with a good lady friend, and he's able to decompress, even if that decompression is him sort of hiding from his look at those pancakes. That's awesome. And they got orange juice. They got some good coffee. All they need is Criterion eggs, and it'll be set.
Criterion eggs.
Yeah. But you know, even though that he's relaxing and he's spending some nice time with a good friend of his, I really like that he's using that to sort of hide from his responsibilities, because I really doubted that if Admiral April didn't come and get him, I don't think that he would have reboarded the Enterprise after it would have come out of space dock. I think that he was really contemplating retirement, and he just wasn't telling anybody. So I think that this emergency with Una and this alien civilization really forced him to do something that he was sort of stepping away from.
That's his attempt at trying to change the future.
The stars, yeah. I have no doubt that was his attempt. I have no doubt that was his attempt to try and change his stars, to try and get away from that, you know, gruesome ending in the chair. Not to say that that's not going to happen, or might not. Knowing these writers of Star Trek, they like to change things. So,
we see hints of we see hints of that kind of Pike in the pilot also, where he's more contemplative and maybe more, I don't want to say melancholic, but definitely not, you know, definitely more thought, like he gets into his own head.
Yeah, in the cage he was very melancholic, because obviously he'd lost quite a few people, and
but
command was wearing him down. So
he seems like he's having another moment like that. He's going through another of those spells, if you will. Over here, Michael says, got me some Kirk Generations vibes in the scene. Where's Antonio?
See, I said Criterion egg.
Yeah, you did, and I agree with you. I actually got the same vibes about this scene, and I really kind of like that too. It's kind of like captains go to retreat in this, like, you know, in the most essential, like, you know, kind of like the survivalist in them goes out into these cabins in the you know, in the wilderness, and like, I don't know, it's just, there's something very like symbolic
somehow
about
looking at that cabin. I don't think that was survivalist somehow.
You're like, okay, sorry. It is a fancy cabin. It's true. It isn't a hut. That's true. It's not like a.
No, but
It's not like a little. Good point. They've
No,
got a
but
TV.
they got
He's
TV. They got TV. They got working.
But what I mean
fire,
to say, he's out in the wilderness, like like it's like a thing, which
I think he's removed himself from civilization
right.
to that degree. But yeah, this is. I think it really does sort of give you sort of an insight. As this is where I was saying it humanizes him. I think because a lot of people would be feeling like this if they were confronted with, how their future is going to change to such extremes. But yeah, I think it really does set the scene for where his mind is at.
I
She
like this
asks him,
too.
"Are you going to answer that?" And he sort of that fork in the air, and he just goes, "Yeah."
And then it stops. But I
Yeah.
like this. Cake is saying they need the isolation, private time, no decisions to be made. Braxton, what do you think of this opening? This reintroduction to Captain Pike, so to speak.
Oh, dude, I thought it was cool. I enjoyed seeing his cabin. He's been off for a good while. His beard's nice and thick. Um, something that I thought was like I felt like it said something about him and that woman's relationship that he did not confide in her. That he had seen, his death. He did confide that in to Spock.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that said something about their relationship like later, you know. Um, but yeah, I thought that the is that in Wyoming?
It's in Montana.
Montana,
It's in
Montana.
Montana. Yeah,
Yeah, Bear
yeah.
Mountain, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Which, by
Yeah.
the way, there's a famous Bruce Weber book called Bear Lake. Which, if you haven't checked it out, it's a artsy book, and there's a lot of nudity. But it's I was like, when I saw where it was, I was like, how far away is Bear Lake? So yeah, check that out, everyone, or
For sure,
don't.
dude.
What's that?
But it's hard for him to get back at it. Like he doesn't want to answer the communicator. You know. Yeah. Hard to face.
Yeah, I like this
I did
scene
quite. I
too.
did quite like that. I was about to say I did quite like the line where he tries to deflect and he says it's classified, and she goes, "I've actually got higher clearances than you."
Not for this. I mean, even Admiral April has to go through quite a bit to get the
Yeah,
info. Yeah, so
to get sworn in.
that
Yeah,
it. I also like that it does connect to Discovery and show just how secretive Starfleet is about that whole thing, and like it is like super classified information that, and it explains why we don't hear about Discovery again until the 32nd century and stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
well, when you think, considering that whole thing ends up saving their bacon at the end as well, doesn't it?
Right on.
So
Yeah, exactly. I love that the underlying reason for everything going on in this episode too has to do. This is like it just picks up right after, pretty much, with a little bit of time in between, of course. From where Disco
like
left
10
off,
months,
and
right?
I think Spock says something like, doesn't he say like 3 months, 10 days, something like that? I forget
three
what it
months,
was.
10
Yeah.
days on
Yeah, it's very recent still. And then we have this awesome scene of Captain Pike riding in the snow, and he's really it looks like Anson Mount is really
Yeah.
freaking riding that horse, and he's riding the hell out of it. I love this scene. It was really cool. And
Anson
he
Mount.
he did do so many seasons of Hell on Wheels, so he
Yes.
was a cowboy in
that's
that.
the show I
So
was trying to remember. I was trying to tell my mom and sister where he's from. It was Hell on Wheels. Because they were asking me if he was from that show with Charlie Hunnam. What's that called? Do you guys know?
Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy. They were asking me if he was on that, but
But
it's
yes,
Hell on Wheels.
Anson Mount does know how to ride a horse because he spent 5 years on a horse. So he does know how to ride a horse. So I have no doubt that that's actually Anson Mount riding a horse.
I think you think Pike teaches young Kirk how to ride a horse. Do you think?
Um,
no.
I'm not sure about that one, but I do want to. I do want to say something. Like Admiral, April could have like seriously hurt Christopher Pike. He came in too low. I'm like, what is wrong with you, man? You
No,
can't
Pike knew how to handle his Pike knew how to handle his spooked horse, but he does
I
point it
guess.
out. He's like, "You spooked my horse."
I did like the effects because obviously you do see when he's sort of they're looking higher up and he's riding the horse. You can actually see the
You see the
shadow,
The shadow,
of the
yeah.
shuttle of the shuttle.
And there's that gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous shuttle, which I'm so in love. I cannot wait to get the Eagle Moss of this
Also-
shuttle. I hope they make an Excel. I don't know if they've done Excel shuttles on Eagle Moss, but I hope they make one for this because that's a
Al-
gorgeous looking version of the TOS era shuttle.
Also, I do appreciate that in this version of the TOS shuttle, they put more shit inside of it. Like, I do
Yeah.
not like the original TOS shuttles because it seems like so bare. They have like two seats and like a control bob thing of a thing. So a control bob thing of a thing. So I appreciate that they put more technology into this shuttle. I like that.
Yeah. What do you think, Ian, of the shuttle? I know you're a spaceship kind of guy too.
Yeah, I think it's. I think this is probably what they probably would have tried to have got to in TOS if they had the money. It's a great update, or it's a great homage to the shuttles. I like it. I think it's a good looking ship. I think one thing I think we'll all agree with. I think this season, with whatever ships we're going to get, there's going to be some good looking ships.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jill points out that there are 3 Starfleet captains that we know of that are horsemen. So that's Pike, Kirk, and Jean-Luc as
Picard.
well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
Does Janeway ride horses?
I would think so because Janeway is awesome, and it would be a crime if she doesn't ride a horse.
I'd like to
Janeway's
see Captain
awesome.
Admiral Janeway ride a horse. That'd be cool too.
Awesome.
That's interesting, an equestrian tradition among certain captains.
That horse was Tango, by the way.
Whose
I think
horse?
so, Pike's horse.
Like,
Oh, do you think that's Tango?
Yeah.
How many
I
years
think-
ago was? How many years ago would?
the cage
Wasn't he
again?
like happy or surprised to see Tango in the cage? Like if he
in the cage, yeah, he was.
like
yeah.
if he hadn't seen Tango, maybe this is a relative of Tango's, like a
It could
new.
be.
I think Tango's probably a little older by now. Does Archer ride a
Look, that could be
horse?
him.
Father's asking. Hey, by the way, Father, nice to see you in the audience. Father's asking, does Archer ride a horse in North Star? I don't remember. Do you all remember?
Yes,
I don't think so.
yeah, I think he. Yeah, I think he does
There
actually.
you go. Another horse captain.
Stop horsing around, man.
Stop horsing around.
Stop horsing around, dude.
But we meet Admiral April, Bob April, Robert April here. So this is a really cool casting.
Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil from the new Bel Air show. I really enjoyed seeing Robert April on screen. I'm totally happy to have recastings of people. I know there was a big little controversy on the internet about like Robert April should look a certain way or shouldn't look a
course there
certain way,
was.
and I do like it when Star Trek does adhere to canon, but personally to me, the visual canon is not as important as the actual story or the sequence of events that occurs. So I guess I'm more of a as long as the same things happen, I don't care who looks like what or what looks like what anymore. I used to be more of a stickler about that stuff.
I did say something last week, or when they announced that he was going to be April. I said something quite prophetic, and I said, because people were saying, "Oh, he can't be. He's got to be white." And I thought, "I'll blow it." It was, it was literally a couple of minutes on an animated episode. That's it. And I turned around and said, "What are they going to be like if the Doctor is black?" And what happens today? The Doctor is announced, and it's a black actor. And I just thought, and Marcelo and I had a quick chat about it today and everything else, but. It was just for me. It was just quite prophetic that I said it last week and it actually happens.
I love that. I like this comment. Robert April is amazing. More of him, please. Dude looked great as Robert April. I hope we see way more of him. Yeah, me too. He's also very compelling as a character, which you want Robert April to be, like a badass,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. And then the Bel Air from Bel Air to Starfleet pipeline. And then I like this comment from Stress Free K. I don't think racial canon is a thing unless you make it a thing, and I agree. I'm not making it a thing. So, any other thoughts on Captain April, gentlemen, before we move on?
It'll be.
Sorry, Admiral April.
Admiral April.
For me personally, it'll be really interesting to see if we explore the relationship between Pike and April, because I like I'm the outlier when it comes to Star Trek fans. I don't like the animated Star Trek series from the 60s, and I hardly remember this character at all. So for me it'll be a pleasure to see if they do to see what they do give us in reference to their relationship if we do see him throughout the course of the series.
I'm hoping that there'll be some flashbacks, because there has been some saying out there that this is probably where we can get Scott Bakula in.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because
if they do flashbacks to April,
flashback to April when he became captain of the Enterprise, that maybe
cool.
that Archer will be there, and that would be brilliant if you could get Scott Bakula in just as a cameo role for that. That would be brilliant.
I'd also love it if maybe April was taught by Professor Archer at the Academy. Maybe Archer could have been in his later years, just like Admiral Picard, perhaps Chancellor of Starfleet Academy or something like that, which would be neat to see if we do go back to a younger April and stuff like that. It'd be neat to get a little bit more age accurate Scott Bakula going in there. That's cool. I like all these ideas. I love all these ideas. Wait, so both Uncle Phils have now been in Star Trek? What was the first Uncle Phil? What was he in?
He was a Klingon, wasn't he?
No way. I forgot about that.
I think he was a Klingon.
I don't even remember which episode. TNG probably, I'm guessing.
No. Well, it was probably TNG, but you got to ask Father about that one. I have no idea. But,
Father, let us know where the first Uncle Phil was. That'd be cool to find out.
He was a really great actor too. The first Uncle Phil was such a commanding presence on screen. He was a wonderful actor. Yeah,
I agree. So then, what did you guys think of this whole sequence with T'Pring and Spock? People were surprised that T'Pring would be even back. I think they handled this really well as far as like the expectations versus having this character that we only saw once in TOS come back, and I think she's going to play a bigger role and give us some insight into Spock as a character. She already is starting to. I like that. Also, a little bit of extra insight. I don't think we ever got a Vulcan engagement before, and it looks like it's cool to see that the traditions that we find on Earth are different on Vulcan. Of course, it's not a ring; it's like a necklace, an engagement necklace, and then also T'Pring has to initiate the engagement. Spock's like waiting, like many young ladies on Earth tend to wait for their fiancés for their future fiancés to pop the question, so to speak. So I really liked all this. What about you guys?
I really like the fact that, I mean, you just said it, like this really goes against the human tradition of men being the one that get down on one knee, and this really, subverses that, being that the T'Pring is the one that asks Spock for his hand in marriage. And I really like the fact that they make out in the Vulcan restaurant, and you have one pissed off Vulcan who must have been the manager going,
can you go somewhere else?
Excuse me, go somewhere else. But I absolutely love this that's on screen right now. I mean, Ethan Peck almost got some, but goddamn, Christopher Pike, man,
you mean Spock almost got some?
Yeah, he almost got some. But you know what? But I love seeing Vulcans be intimate, other than just the little finger touch thing. And I'm not making a cruel joke for anybody who doesn't know what that is, but don't
knock Ponfar till you try it, Marcel.
Yeah, but I really like seeing a more emotional side to Spock and a more personal side to Spock. And I also like that he does listen to his captain, but he does say to T'Pring that despite me gallivanting across the galaxy, I don't want you to think that you're more important to me than Starfleet is, because you're not. I really, I really like that. It seems that Spock is going to put T'Pring first over his duty to Pike, and Starfleet at some point. Or
Yeah, I
maybe
like
not.
that. Yeah, good takes on all that. I do think it's I do think about the kiss scene. I think that's Spock's human part. I don't know if Vulcans necessarily are so kissy as he is.
Well, they've always said when it becomes time of Pumfar, that is when they are emotional. That's when their emotions come out. I mean,
Or
it's there. So
they allow, is that right? They feel the, yeah, you're right. Like based on what we saw in TOS, like that's when they tend to get in touch with their
yeah, the
more
burning of the blood and all that
and
type
all
stuff.
that
But they
stuff.
are
Yeah,
more
good point.
emotion. They are more emotional. So the whole kissing bit and being intimate, that I'm with Marcelo on that one. I thought it was great and a great slight telling. But yeah, I mean, he is at the end of the day, he is half human as well. But
Do
I,
you
I
think?
don't think I don't think it really
Um,
matters.
do you think that she waited for that for like them to be in their Ponfar state before she popped the question,
I
or
don't
do you
think
think?
that we're in his Ponfar state. I think this
Okay,
is just
courting ritual.
I think
Prelude.
that like also on the other hand, like maybe Vulcans will mark certain occasions with like a little intimacy or something like that. We didn't actually get to see them get intimate, so who knows? Maybe there's a lot more query and answers and like logical statements going on than there would be in a human sex scene. I don't know. Braxton, any thoughts on these scenes here?
So yeah, this is actually the scene that I skipped when I watched it a second time. It was like, okay, well, I know who she is. I don't need to see all this again. You know, it was funny when uh, when Captain Pike came in, he was like, "Spock, are you naked?" I thought that was funny, but
I do
yeah,
like
okay.
that I like someone in the audience pointed out that she knows Pike because she's like, no, Chris, he
No,
wasn't, but he
Chris.
was about
Yeah,
to be. She's like on a first
yeah.
name
I
basis
also
with
do
him.
like that putting the communicator into the docking station as such, and all of a sudden you get the a video link. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the this is like definitely a retcon from Discovery where Discovery kind of showed, and I like the idea that Disco being a experimental ship, it would make sense that she would have like more advanced technology perhaps than some of the other ships in the fleet or anything. But I do like this return. This is like the kind of like
Proper view streams.
yeah, like the return to view screens. I just like it because to me, again, it just like there's something about it that makes it look part of this time period, more than a hologram. Although there are holograms in there's totally precedence in TOS and the animated series for there to be holograms. They're just used in a different way than we're used to later. And TNG, by the way, has holograms too. Remember the Takan Empire? We actually have that on screen. So it's just the use of the holograms is different. But yeah, I like that you put the communicator on there. I wish my phone did that. That would be really cool.
It would be cool. Going back, Fatherese actually stated Dorothy Fontana made it clear that she thought Vulcans could make more than every 7 years if they want
Yes.
to.
Thank you. Yes, that's
So
true. That's true.
yeah.
But go on, Braxton. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Oh no, I didn't really have any more thoughts on it. Like I said, when I watched it a second time, I actually skipped right through the episode. I mean, skipped right through
This
this
part.
part.
Do you guys think that I think T'Pring's going to be a big part of season 1 if not further along. What do you guys think?
Well, there does
I
seem
think
to be a bit with like a amok time, isn't there? There's, you saw the bit at the end with what's coming up this season. So I think so.
Mhm.
I think she's going to be there, but she's not going to be there all the time. She's going to be there in select moments, but she's not going to be like a big presence. Uh, she's not going to be discussing with Spock after every mission or what have you. She's going to be there, but she's not going to be there, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think we're going to see little bits of her and stuff like that. Maybe we'll see. I like her. I like the actress. I like the way she's interpreting T'Pring. I like her. She's very smart
Pretty.
and witty. You know, she's got quite a few like little witty remarks
Very pretty.
to give to Spock. You know, and I think it's interesting to see how Spock is at this point. You know, like I wonder if he's. Oh, actually, you know, I just remembered I saw a trailer. We will see T'Pring again, so there will be more of her, for sure, and addressing all this stuff. But like, this is definitely going to be something at play. Is going out into the frontier versus staying home on Vulcan. And she even says in that one scene, like, "What do you need?" There's, you know, he's describing like how different planets have different kinds of oceans, you know, made of different things. Like I think he says like
Mercury and water, wasn't it?
Mercury, yeah, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she says like, "What's out there that you can't have here?" You know what I mean? Like, and and I think that's that's a question we're gonna get the answer to.
Well, Spock also turns that on his head as well, doesn't he? He said, "You don't have to chase me for something we've already got."
Right, but is that, you know, like that's an interesting thing there too. Like Spock's being a little presumptuous and a little secure in his relationship. You know, like
Well,
if he's not...
yeah. I mean, he was presumptuous when he turned around and said, "Oh, T'Pring will be okay with that."
Yeah, exactly.
So
and she lets him know too. I like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Stress-free K says, "I too usually skip through straight sex scenes, but this Spock Ethan Peck, it required a closer inspection, Braxton." Braxton saw all he needed to see. Yeah, the gay internet's breaking apart. It's the gay Twitter is broken because of this. I feel like I've seen a lot of this shirtless Spock online,
No,
like between.
Well, as I
Thursday
said,
and today.
as somebody called him, Ethan Pex. So
Ethan Peck, yeah.
No, I mean, when when I saw the scene for the first time, I was watching it with my friend who is a girl, and she said, "God damn, Ethan Peck is looking." I'm like, really? Oh, can we not? Like, can we just not?
Moving.
before we move on, I just wanted to go back. Uncle Phil, James Avery.
Yeah, James Avery.
He portrayed Kavar, a general in the Klingon Defense Force in the Enterprise episodes Affliction and Divergence.
Okay. Very cool.
So, yeah, just going back to the Uncle Phil connection.
Very nice. So then, you know, so Spock's like, "All right, I'm on my way." Captain Pike's like, "We got to get to the Enterprise. Number one's in danger." I forgot to tell, we already talked about this in the summary, of course, but number one's in danger. Duty calls, so they all get ready. And here he is. This is like, I thought this was an interesting scene that echoed later scenes, like Kirk looking at the Enterprise and Picard looking at the Enterprise, you know, like that whole inspection time type of thing. But I did think it was interesting that Pike doesn't look at the Enterprise with love. I think there's a little bit of, based on what we're seeing and learning about his character, there's a little bit of resentment in this captain, not 100% like wanting to be there. He even says, "You don't want me in command of that ship." You know, like, and when he looks at her, she says she's all scrubbed up and nice and new looking, and he says, "If only it were that easy," or if, you know, or something like that. So he's got some chips on his shoulders. So it's a little bit different than we've seen this scene before. And I did love that he takes note of the name of the shuttle. He has a moment where he, like, when she says shuttle Stamets, you know, ready to approach or whatever, I like that they cut to him and he takes note of it, and I couldn't help but think, oh, that's sad, like he's remembering Stamets, you know, and Paul and like the rest of them, and he's wondering like what's their fate in that little moment. So this was a great scene for me. What did you all think?
Going back to Discovery, what happened to him in Discovery, I mean, we'll see it in a couple of bits when he's talking to Spock. I think that's why he's there. He's still conflicted. You know, whether he still wants to stay in Starfleet. I think that's you know, that's where his mindset is at the moment. He's do I still want to be in Starfleet? You know, I know what's going to happen in 10 years, and if I stay on the ship, it's going to happen. It's those type of things. So I think that's where his mind is. That's why he's a little bit melancholy, for want of a better phrase.
Mm-hmm.
I think that...
Sorry, Marcelo.
No, I'm sorry. I cut you off first. I think that Pike views the Enterprise at this point in time as a coffin, and the
Yeah.
Enterprise is a coffin that it will eventually lead him to his death. And I think until he gets over the fact that he needs to live his life the best way that he can, protecting his crew and doing the best job he can while he still can, I think he's still going to have resentment for the ship that will bring him home every time if he takes care of it. But that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking is possibly going through his head at this moment. That this ship is a vehicle that's going to lead him to his death eventually. And I don't think that he's necessarily come to terms with that choice that he made on in the monastery.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure his tomb is not, the accident doesn't occur on Enterprise, but I know what you
Right, I
mean,
know.
like going out
Yeah.
into space and stuff like
Right.
that. And
Right.
Yeah, but it's his time on the Enterprise that where they offer him the fleet captain role, and it's during his time as fleet captain that with the cadets, that's and the radiation. So
Mhm.
I think that's maybe where he's coming from on that one.
Also, I know this would, I know this would, you know, Star Trek fans would come with pitchforks to Akiva Goldsman's house, but I would really like if they change it up a little bit and they did like they did an ending where Christopher got injured, but they didn't put him in the chair. That they did something else. But with that being said, I think if they did that, Akiva Goldsman would have a lot to answer for.
I don't think that's going to happen, but it is an
Of course
interesting
not.
idea. I mean, of course, Pike thinks we'll talk about it more. Well, let's get into the crew introduction. So the
Oh,
first
Starfleet
person.
boy.
What's that?
Oh, really fast, dude. So, I think about that scene. I think that Anson Mount did a great job showing showing that like the anxiety like that Captain Pike was feeling. Also, I couldn't help but notice like there was like two shots, dude. Like Anson Mount really needed to get his cuticles pushed back and to get a
Oh my
manicure. Like
god, I
his
hate that.
fa-
I noticed
his
that too,
his
actually.
God.
fingernail
But I
and the
liked it.
cuticle.
Braxton, he was just out in Montana
Oh
riding
my
horses on a
god.
saddle. He was like, that kind of like, it would have been like,
can't-
although in the future they could
Ah.
probably do it really easily. But yeah, you're right. Like, he didn't have time to go and get
Oh, that is so much
his
pain.
nails
Dude,
did.
he did to get
That
his
is so much
cuticles
pain.
pushed back, dude.
But
I
I
can't
did.
stand that.
It
So much
looked like
pain.
he like bites his nails as well.
Oh yeah, it
Um,
might. Yeah, from like
mhm.
nervous. Yeah, yeah, it's cool. Good,
But
good
okay, but
call.
there's at least something on Anson Mount that's not perfect.
That's good. Bring him down to earth a little bit. I like that.
Oh god, that's so terrifying. Oh,
So we start to meet the crew. Oh, I think we lost our Admiral. Hopefully he comes back in a second. But we start to meet the crew, and we meet my first episode husband, the engineer
really? You
chief.
hardly even know the guy.
I already love him. He's so cute.
All right,
He's such
fine,
a cutie.
fine,
And what he
fine,
does in
fine.
this, and what do you mean? He's like so good at the transport. He's able to
I
transport the
understand.
anecdote
Yeah,
back
yeah,
down.
yeah,
You know,
I understand that, but isn't it customary you get to know the guy
Antidote.
before? Isn't it customary you get to know the guy before you start fawning over him?
if he's the same Kyle from TOS, then I already know him.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
If
right.
he's the same character,
Yeah.
so, which we don't know yet, but who knows? So yeah, I like the scene also of the briefing. Spock is giving a briefing as they're talking and walking, through the
I like-
halls, and then we start meeting the other characters. We meet, Leon here.
Leon.
We meet our beautiful Uhura, an unknown lieutenant, and then what's the name of this character?
Erica.
Erica, thank you. Yeah, she's really cool as well. So,
Yes, you forgot the bit about Lieutenant Kirk in that conversation.
oh yeah, in the
on-
conversation, did you guys think it was gonna be something else than it was when they said
Oh,
when
no,
they
I-
mentioned
no,
Lieutenant Kirk?
when I watched this episode the first time, that really went over my head. And then when Kirk was muttered towards the end of the episode, my friend will attest. I almost had a heart attack. I was like, "You did not. You what the fuck are you doing, Akiva?" And then the guy came in. And I was like, "Oh, thank God!" But Akiva, you scared me half to death. What are you doing?
Marcelo probably does actually yell at Akiva Goldsman in first
Yeah,
name. They're on first name basis.
no, but
Like,
seriously,
I just could see him watching the TV and going, Akiva, what are you doing, Akiva? Tell me
Yeah,
here.
but seriously, I really like you said, Starfleet Boy. I really like this walk and talk briefing, and I love the corridors, and I love actually meeting Erica, the navigator, Laan. She's gonna be my wife. I love that woman.
It's Lieutenant Jenna Mitchell.
Jenna Mitchell, very cool.
Wait a minute. Wait a second. Mitchell.
Yeah, Mitchell. Just
Mitchell.
like
Yeah, Mitchell.
just a little
As in
nod
Gary.
maybe to having
Yeah,
a
I
Gary
said
Mitchell.
Gary, right?
Yeah, it's very
I was
cool.
like, she's not gonna go mad, is she? I hope not.
No, but they might not even be related or anything like that. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Well, there's two ways to look at it. It's either going to be it's an homage to Gary Mitchell or it's an homage to Ken. So
Yeah, exactly.
So-
And that's cool. I like both of those could actually work, which is really nice. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Cool.
yeah,
And then Arthur's pointing out that Starfleet Boy has a lot of husbands that he's mentioned. Yes, I am the Black Widow of Star Trek. Every time I think someone's cute, they get killed. But I have a lot of hope for Kyle. although my engineering husband, which I'll show you later, is probably gonna die, knowing the way they do it. But yeah, just call me the Black Widow of Star Trek. It's like there's only another one that survived was Garavik. That's the only other husband from TOS that survived, I think. So, which apparently will be appearing. That character will be somehow referenced or appearing in Star Trek Prodigy, which is pretty cool.
I also like that when Pike addresses the entire ship, he says, Uhura, address the intercraft. I really, really like that he doesn't say hailing frequencies on.
Well, he wouldn't unless it's another ship. He just says like ship-wide or something like that.
Yeah, ship-wide, yeah. And I also appreciate that it didn't have that stupid thing connected to the chair. The speaker thing that's in you remember that you remember that where in Where No Man Has Gone Before, Kirk has that speaker thing connected to his chair. Father will back me up on this because it's there.
It's on a bendy bit with like it's there. I think it was on I don't know if it was in the cage, but it was definitely in Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Yeah,
it was on like a flexi lead with a head and a screen on it. Yeah.
Ugh, so dumb.
Interesting. The main AI has been upgraded. No, I don't think we're gonna get any problems with that this time, Cake. I think it's just like a reference, as Father said in our Twitter, that to the voice changing. Here's the engineering. Speaking of engineering, by the way, which I think is really beautiful. It doesn't look much like the TOS one, but it has kind of the feel for it to me with the center console and like
cool.
the chamber in the back.
That bit there, that bit in the middle of the screen reminded me a bit of TMP.
Yeah, a little bit, but that also has like I don't know. There's a vibe to it. It's definitely a reimagined version, but I see the core of what we have in TOS. And I'm sorry I don't have a comparison picture. I think I haven't had a chance to go watch the Text Trek stream, but I imagine he might have done a comparison or something like that.
Oh,
he didn't. Oh, he didn't do it.
No, he did.
Oh, he did. Okay, cool, perfect. And then of course there's my engineering husband there, who's probably gonna get killed. He'll die. He's probably
radiation poisoning or something.
Radiation. Braxton's trying to get a good look over.
Starfleet Boy wants to tell my husband, and he's got a red shirt on, so he's going
to die. But yeah, so we have a lot of little introductions. Again, as Marcelo said, we don't get like too much into it, but I'm not upset about that. We have a whole 10 episodes to get to know these people better, and I think it was nice and fun to get the introduction the way that we did. Any other thoughts on the sequence of leaving the dry dock and everything like that?
I am surprised that Pike didn't actually tell Erica to slowly turn on the thrusters. I mean, he just said, you know, go basically. Because I'm like, shouldn't there like be other ships in the area? You just don't want to like like blast out of there, right? Or am I being too much of a nerd on this?
I think
No,
being
I
I'm
think
with
there
you.
was a
I'm with him.
there was an
Okay.
impression at one point that you had to like I think TNG established this for some reason that
The
you had
thrusters,
to
yeah.
go out of our solar system. It was customary to leave the solar system at impulse and
Right,
then go
impulse
to
power,
warp
right.
once. Or maybe the motion picture set that up actually. I'm not sure, but I think that's not a big deal. That's a
It's
nitpick I
fine.
don't care about.
It's
But I
fine.
understand what you're saying. You're definitely right. They just do warp right from the general
Yeah.
area out
Mhm.
into to wherever they're going.
Also, you mentioned it. But I really like that Pike has that moment when he sits in the chair and he's looking at the screen on one of his armrests, and he sees his face from his potential future, that horrible face, and he just stops for a moment, and the camera pans to every bridge member, and they're like, sir, what the hell's going on? We're ready to go. What the hell?" And
Yeah.
Spock is the one that says, Captain, get out of it. So Spock is the one that pushes him out of it. I really like that.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that. Speaking of that, a nice little segue right into the scene where Spock is having a discussion with him about his fate and the future and
Yes.
everything like that. And I thought it was a cool little visual nod to Star Trek Beyond when Kirk is talking to Bones
Absolutely.
at like a bar type setting with the warp in the background and the in the
Star Trek
portholes or
Beyond.
whatever. Yeah, so I thought that was really
Yeah,
that's
that
what
was that.
my
Yeah,
mind went to anyways. But
Kirk's birthday.
yeah, Kirk's birthday and Pike's death day. It's like
Well, actually, it wasn't. It was George. No, it was George Kirk's death day.
So is that the
It was George,
captain's ready room?
no, they don't have a ready room on the constellation on the Constitution. Sorry, it's in his quarters.
Oh, that's his quarters. Oh, wow.
No, but also speaking, I mean, we haven't.
he
got
has
there
a
yet.
bar in his quarters. He has like a fancy
Yes,
desk. I didn't
yes.
even see the bed. It's huge.
Speaking-
Pike's got like a magnificently huge quarters.
Speaking,
He is the captain.
It's true.
Speaking of his quarters, for just a quick second, the meeting table that he has in his quarters, I love this. And my friend who I watched the episode with went crazy, and she called me a big Star Trek nerd. But if you notice, underneath the table, there's carpet. Underneath his meeting table,
I did
so I was
not
like,
notice that.
"Holy shit, there's carpet! I love this show. They I'm sorry, they put carpet on the. Oh my god, sorry, I'm sorry, but I love that. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're totally fine. We do get another, several flashbacks to, Discovery and seeing Pike's fate and stuff like that. And again, I really like that they tied all this into it and that we're seeing Pike struggle with it. So, anyways, any other thoughts on Spock and Kirk and these scenes and these exchanges here?
Yeah, I don't know if I missed. Sorry, I don't know if I missed it before, but I did like the bit with the walk through in the corridor. I did like that Spock said to Pike that he's still coming to terms with losing his sister.
Oh yeah, that was cool too.
Mm.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And he
Yeah.
says, "I miss her too." That was really nice. She
Yeah,
made a
that
really
was
good
that was
impression
a-
on Pike. Captain Burnham did. I think we'd be
Yeah.
so proud of her to see that she made captain so quickly in the future, and
Yeah.
I don't know, it's
and
very
and
cool.
be so revered within Starfleet as well.
Yeah, but it was a bumpy road. I will say that Michael's ascension was not without issues.
Oh yeah, but not everyone's road is smooth, and
Right,
and
right. That is true. That
so
is
yeah, so I like
That
that
is
as well.
Just a quick note on this scene. I mean, I did say it before, but I love this scene because it shows Pike's inner turmoil in the fact that he's thinking about his future, and he's thinking about even he's really questioning the meaning of his life, and he's trying to figure out what to do with it all. And I really like the fact that Spock sort of indirectly says to him, you need to do the best that you can do. And he says to him that, we're all going to die at some point, but the best thing that we can do is be ourselves and be present for the people that we are responsible for and the people that we love. That wasn't necessarily said in the scene, but I sort of read that being said on Anson Mount's face and particularly Ethan Peck's face as Spock. So I really like the scene for the things that Warren said
I
between
think
the two of them.
the line is the exchange, I wrote it down, is most humans, we like to think that right until the very last instant,
Right.
somehow, some way, we'll cheat death. Least I did. Sir, I would suggest knowledge of death is vital for effective leadership.
Right.
And then Pike says, knowledge is one thing, Spock, but I experienced it. How will it live in me? Will it make me hesitant, cautious, not cautious enough? I'm already second guessing myself, and that's the last thing a captain can afford. And then Spock says, suffering can be, and I think where Stan pointed this out earlier, suffering can be transformed into insight. You must seek out the good in knowing your own death. Use it to be the man you most essentially are. And he says, who is that, Spock? And he says, the captain. And I just love that. That was like such a good, that was such a good like exchange, like, and a reminder to him, like, you're the freaking captain, and a reminder to us as well of
It's
what
funny,
the
in
captain does.
later years, he has a very similar conversation with Kirk.
He does.
If you go to the Wrath of Khan, where he says it was a mistake to accept promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Being a captain is your first and best
destiny. Oh yeah.
So
Interesting.
you do. It's funny how you still have
Great,
those tie-ins
great
with
canon
other
connection. Our friend Earl Grey Trekkie uses the term canon connection, and I love that. So that's good. Very nice. Very nice, Ian. But anyways, we then arrive at Kylie 279, and we see that the Archer's been abandoned. The Kylians attack them with plasma weapons. All kinds of excitement starts to ensue, and Pike has a meeting with his crew to determine what to do. He's like, they determined that the warp signature that they initially thought was an indication that that Kylie had developed warp spaceflight, is actually the opposite. It's a warp bomb. So a warp weapon of some kind of weapon using matter-antimatter reactions, and it's the planet, through their scans, they're able to determine that the planet is under some kind of civil unrest, and perhaps like a civil conflict, a civil war type of thing, very similar to what we're seeing on Earth right now. And they even reference later on the Second Civil War, which, scary thing to imagine, but it kind of looks like the signs are all there. But they realize really quickly that something's up, so they have to they determine that number one and crew must have gotten captured, and they have to go down and rescue them. And by the way, I love this. I made this full screen because I love this moment when he's talking about, like when Spock is briefing them in the briefing room about like Kylie and its situation and the other planets around here and first contact, and the Vulcans, invented first contact and all that. But I love like just this shot of Captain Pike. He's so thoughtful. You could see he's like thinking. He's like a thinking captain. And so he gets this idea, and he's like, well, we're going to have to go down there, but we're going to have to disguise ourselves so that that we don't get captured as well. And so that's when we meet Dr. Mbenga and Nurse Chapel, and she's awesome. He's awesome. I love these two characters, and I love that they're together.
Chapel is going to be the bomb. I'm telling you, Chapel's going to be the bomb.
It's so true. I'm really excited to see. Also, Mbenga's going to be the bomb. We lost. Marcelo got so excited that we lost him. Hopefully, he'll come right back over here. So she's. Mbenga says Nurse Chapel is part of Starfleet's initiative to better observe alien cultures without contamination. So she's definitely interested in genetics and stuff like that. It's very cool. And she injects everyone, and we talked about this earlier. But she injects Leon without any sedative. Everyone else gets a sedative. And then Spock's injection is kind of dodgy because his Vulcan physiology confounds everyone usually. And so there's that. And so that'll come into play definitely in the scenes ahead. By the way, I hope this face that Captain Pike is making becomes like a meme or something in the future, because that expression is just priceless. Marcelo, what happened? You got so excited we lost you there.
No,
huh?
actually, the universe wanted me to shut up. I just do want to say one thing about Pike's managerial ilk to this point. I really like the fact that he likes to hear from his senior staff and he likes to discuss things first, because another captain that everybody loves doesn't do that. Another captain shoots from the hip and he says, "Oh, we got a problem. Why don't we just go down to the planet and shoot everybody?"
Who
Um,
does that?
But I'll tell you who does that in just a second.
Okay.
But I really no, but but that's a little bit dramatic. That captain prefers action, over discussion and contemplation. And I really like that Pike seems to be a person of hearing all angles before making a decision. And the captain who is more of a cowboy than the diplomat, I'm referring to James T. Kirk. Although James T. Kirk does not go into a situation just all guns blazing and stuff, but he's more of the man of action, and Pike seems to be more of a Picard sort of model. You know,
I think I think he's in that halfway house. To be honest, Marcelo, I think he's somewhere in between Kirk and Picard.
Okay. And if I just could say something about Christine Chapel for a second, she is going to be amazing, and I'm really interested to see what kind of relationship will develop between her and Spock, and I'm really interested to see if Akiva or Alonso is going to play with the T'Pring Spock relationship in that way. I mean, we know that they're not going to end up together ultimately, but I'm really interested to see what kind of character interactions that we're going to get between Chapel and Spock moving forward.
I feel like that we've gotten like a huge leap in our understanding of Nurse Chapel in this episode over everything we saw her in TOS. So like, she's already off to a good start, and I really dig this character. I think she's very plucky and smart and like, just like really cool. I like that she got excited about chasing that one guy around the ship, and she's like a really cool character. I like her a lot.
You also noticed that she's the same rank as Mbenga.
Oh, is she? Okay.
If you look, she's got commander's rank.
Although I just want to point out something that one of our friends said a couple days ago. The Enterprise has security, right? Where the hell was the security when this guy was running across the ship? Come on, guys, really?
Our friend Dom Paris in the audience says, one thing I'm interested in, what was Mbenga wiping his eye to Leon mean? Like, he did her psych eval, but does it have more significance? I think it's part of Leon's, her group, her people. It must be some kind of expression.
I think it also could be sort of relating to the Gorn story as well.
Yeah, but like he does it in an intentional way, and she responds like she does it back.
Maybe
maybe
he removed like a scar that she had.
No, I mean she does it back. Like it was like a greeting of some kind. It's like she does it back. Like she does it back as a response. It's very it's just done very casually, but it has. I love that scene. I mean, Dom's right. It's got a lot of. It does have more significance for sure, I think. And I liked it. I like that moment. That stood out to me.
By the way, I just want to point out the fact that I love about La'an. I love the fact that she's British, because I love British accents. So the fact that she's British just makes her more awesome to me.
That's cool. Yeah, I like British accents too. I have no reason to put this picture of Kyle here. I just wanted to because I love him. He's my space husband, and I care deeply for him.
Because you can't forget.
There's two. I have a lot of space husbands on the Enterprise. So sorry guys.
Well,
no reason.
because it's episodic now, he's going to be a new husband every week.
It's true. Okay, husband of the week. So yeah. Dom's also pointing out, Ian, that Chapel isn't in Starfleet officially since she's a civilian just serving on an Enterprise. So I wonder if she gets a rank, like a provisional rank or something like that.
Honorary rank then of commander then. So, okay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. How is that? How can a civilian serve?
You are a specialist and the military needs you. Not that, by the way, Starfleet's not a military. It's a service of some sort, but it's not a military.
It's a military
oh my God. But if you're needed, why wouldn't you be able to have a temporary commissioner rank
I'm kidding. I'm
placed you,
kidding.
but
It's
you
fine.
know,
It's fine.
so, yeah.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
So we get down to the mission now finally, and I like that. I like that the rescue mission here, and I love that the. By the way, I love that the transporter sounds. I forget who pointed this out. It was either in our chats or online somewhere. I get exposed to so much information, so I'm sorry if I don't give everyone their proper credit. Whoever I saw say this, but if you listen to the sound design of the transporters, it has a
It's from the
slight.
cage.
It has
Yeah.
that like tickle that the cage transporter sound effect has.
Two things I liked about the transporter. Well, there was three
The
elements
theme.
of the transporter I liked on this. The first one was obviously you got the sound of the cage. The second one was that they go into transport in their uniform, but it's configured to actually give them the clothing on the planet. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but we've seen that
That's
before with we've seen that in First Contact
I really
and stuff like that.
well,
But
you
yeah,
don't know. You know, it's. I think no. They do say in First Contact they do say we'll have the clothing, but they don't say about the transporter actually doing it. But
oh,
it's
okay.
this is
I could have
the
sworn.
first. This is the yeah. No, he does say get the clothing, but this is the first time you really do see that, and I do like that. And obviously we'll see it with Carl bit with the bit in the eye, which was really cool. But it was fun to see Spock in a pair of shorts as well.
Yeah, I like that outfit a lot, and it was cool to show that the Kylian spots or whatever the the pattern on their
All the way
skin
down.
goes all the way down, so to speak. So yeah, that was really funny too. When
Yeah.
in Rome, Spock. I also like that Pike is like, why is it always in an alley? Why do we always beam into an alley? Well, there's a good reason for that. You don't want to beam in front of all these folks here. So here they are. They're trying to figure out what's going on. They realize that their friends are being detained in this like facility, which has like shielding, and that's why they can't detect them and stuff like that. So they quickly figure out a plot to get them them back into the building. Sorry. So Leon improvises when she sees a group of scientists coming out of a door, and they basically
the neck.
What's that?
Yeah,
The neck.
I'm sorry.
The
I'm
neck,
sorry.
the neck,
Yeah.
yeah.
They basically mug them.
sorry.
right over here. And then beam them aboard Enterprise, but the sedation doesn't work, and so there's a lot of fun. What does she say? What was the scenario that they say? Something Scoresby or something like that? What was the scenario when
I think it was a Scorby. Something.
Scorby is that a reference to something? I didn't see
know.
Text Trek, so usually, guys, if you want all these like cool references, Text Trek is usually first on the scene with them, at least for me. So I
He's
missed
really
it
good
this
at that.
time, though. Yeah, but anyways, and then I love that he says, "You're my favorite" to her. I just love their relationship off the bat, like Mbenga and Chapel. I think it's very cute. But yeah,
But do you guys think at some point we're going to see Dr. Boyce? I mean, I don't mean to crap all over Mbenga because I just met the man, but
no, I mean, Boyce could have been. It could be retired. He might be. We might see him as far as like a follow up to his character. I suspect he's like at Starfleet Medical, like maybe
right,
he's chief of Starfleet Medical
he's
or
gotta
something.
be
I mean,
around somewhere.
not everyone who serves on the Enterprise has to go off and do great things, but you know,
Right.
He could have been retired because obviously
he was
even
pretty
in the
old.
Cage, he was an
cage,
older
yeah.
doctor. It was an
Yeah,
older
it's
doctor,
true.
so
Could be retired,
could be.
Yeah,
I
and I
love the
like the
corridor
idea
shit.
that it sems Mbenga stuck around. What was his deal on TOS? He came to visit the ship, or was he already just there? He was just another doctor that happens to be on the ship, and then
No, I
McCoy
think
just
Yeah,
came to visit.
there is a couple of things. I mean, in Beta Canon, in Benga's very much in some of the books, which is really quite good. But but he actually gets transferred to the Enterprise, but that is to work under McCoy. So that was quite an odd one. But yeah, that's where that was.
This was another standout scene, and Father was pointing it out on something that we were talking about, but just her using his using his a frame of reference to like a sport on his planet to kind of distract him for a second and calm him down. I personally would still be freaked out, but I guess it worked. But I loved Uhura using her communication skills basically to do something cool in this scene. And then of course we have my husband is able to do something never before done, which is transport this serum right into Spock as he's being scanned, and so you could actually see the glint of the transport effect on the vial when she extracts the genetic material. You see it. He doesn't actually beam the vial itself down. He actually beams the material down, and you see a little bit of it in Spock's eye there. So it's amazing how they were able to. It's amazing how good at transporting Kyle is. I think he's like, he would have saved Spock's mom. That's all I gotta say. I feel like Kyle would have saved Spock's mom. Sorry, Chekhov.
No, but I think
sorry, Chekhov. But if they had Transporter Chief Kyle in the Kelvin universe, it might have turned out a little different.
No, I also think he would have saved Commander Sonak too.
Oh yes, where was he? Poor Rand. Poor Rand. Her first day as chief. This was a cool scene too, where they're going down to they locate the crew and they're going down there, and we have this scene where that character's flirting with Pike, and then she notices Spock's ear transforming, and Dom's pointing out that Kyle was actually in the Kelvin universe. I didn't really notice that. That's cool.
Yeah, he was. He was played by James Doohan's son.
Sorry, I got excited there.
Yeah,
awesome.
So it was the one who played Scotty in Star Trek Continues.
Chris
he was
Doohan,
actually in that
right?
one. Yeah, Chris Doohan.
Very cool.
Yes, Kyle was played by Chris Doohan.
Very, very
in
cool.
the Kelvin.
That actress reminds me of Angelina Jolie, the one in the elevator.
Yeah, she's got that vibe, certainly with her hair and stuff like that. It's very cool.
Yeah. And even in all that, different facial structure, Anson Mount's still really handsome. She can't help herself. So she's like, "Ooh, wow, look at you."
I know.
Yeah. And also in the elevator, in the lift. Sorry, I'm going to say lift because I'm British. In the lift, the music is actually from season 2 Discovery.
I haven't listened. I got to go watch it like a 6th time and listen.
Yeah,
to that.
if you have a pointer, go and watch Sean Ferrick's ups and downs for this episode. It's right at the end of the video where they actually do say that it's the music from season 2 of Discovery.
Cool. Shout out to our friend Sean Ferrick. I just realized in 30 minutes, by the way, I'm going to be over at Trek Central, so we're going to wrap this up pretty soon here.
So wait a minute.
Dom's keeping an eye on you, saying,
Dom's here to mind me. No, I'm just kidding.
Hold up 1 second. So I guess we can assume now you're a part of the lovely team over there?
Just stay tuned. Go watch Trek Central and you'll find out.
Come on. Keep it on weeks for weeks. Come on. All right, well, I'm going to go watch. So I'll definitely
I'm Team Trek Central all the way. Yes, Marcel.
All right, okay.
We're collaborating in
awesome.
strange new ways. You'll find out.
Awesome.
all I'll say is Trek Central have the best baseball caps. That's for certain.
Yeah, I've got mine. I'm going to wear it today. I'm excited to wear it.
I need one of those.
I can't jock Dom's style. I'm not going to wear the beanie. I'll wear my ball cap. So
I don't know, but I think to get my hand on one of those, I have to end up working with those lovely people one day, hopefully.
Excellent.
In answer, Cake, it's Trek Central. Well, Starfleet Boys with Trek Central, but as I said, the episode that I was talking about was Sean Ferrick from Trek Culture.
Trek Culture, yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of cool Trekkie creators out there. So not just the big channels, but lots of smaller channels too. So I love our Star Trek content creator universe. It's pretty cool as well.
There's also a bunch of Sci-Fi Fanatics too is really good.
Yeah. Real quick, wrapping up this plot. So here we find out that basically the whole reason the first contact mission was was not what they were expecting it to be. It turns out that the Kylians had observed what is called I think Event Zero or something like that, or 0 point I think they were calling it, which is when the Discovery went into the future and opened up a gigantic wormhole, basically, and it gave the chance for a lot of civilizations to maybe observe, and then in this case, the Kylians were able to deconstruct a actual warp warp technology, but now they're using it as a weapon instead of like other civilizations who naturally kind of develop it for space flight. So here we are with this conundrum, and Una reminds them, Pike, that like, hey, you know what, we're not here to get them to be interested in the stars, that's not our job. But Pike's like, no, this is our fault, and he kind of like takes command and says, General Order 1 be damned. We have already influenced these people. Let's try to influence them right. So he gets his crew beamed to safety, and he decides that he and Spock are going to get captured on purpose. Take me to your leader. And he goes to the leader and pleads with her. And when she's not, she's not seeing the light, and she says something about a big stick, he's like, okay, here's my big stick. And he gets the
I've got the biggest stick. Yeah, I've got the biggest stick.
And he's right. He does have the biggest stick.
And he orders the Enterprise to come into a very low orbit. Beautiful shots here of her. And of course, it changes everything. Now, all of a sudden, people are no longer no longer interested in their hatred of each other. Now they all are common, looking up into the stars and seeing that they have either a common threat or a common wonder.
But I do want to. I'm sorry. I do want to say that I think it's that this moment, and I think it's the wonderful speech that Anson Mount gives to them after this moment.
Yeah. Hi. Sorry to interrupt.
But yeah, he does beam down. He gives this amazing speech, and the production were brave enough to include actual images from our recent history, which is very sad to think that we're on a very precarious place right now on this earth. There's a lot of conflict that's going on, and things seem to be escalating towards we don't know what, and there's a lot of fear for our future as humanity. So yeah, this was very poignant, very telling, and I just really thought this was a great, Star Trek. Star Trek is entertainment, but it also is a show that has always held a mirror up to humanity and has always tried to show us how we could actually overcome these dark inclinations of humanity to create a better tomorrow. And so I thought this was just so on point as a message, as a first message for a Star Trek show. And again, just like the reactions of the characters and stuff like that in this scene was just delightful to me. But anyways, it works. The Kylians see the light, so to speak, and they decide that they do want to get to know the Federation, and they do want to stop fighting. And you see a bunch of scenes of them like poring over schematics of Enterprise, and just like kids learning about it. I love this like drawing on the chalkboard and stuff like that. What did you guys think of the resolution of the story here and all this stuff?
It was
this is for me where I got excited. When I said it was like the last 10 minutes, it was Pike's speech. When he said, "Yes, you can kill each other, but why not join the Federation and look to the stars?" That was the bit that really, I had a little glint in my eye on that bit. I thought that was great, and that's where it really did. It captured me even more. As I said, I was enjoying it, but that bit for me really did get it for me.
I really think it was a really classic Star Trek sort of ending, and I love the fact that he sort of brought everybody down to a common level by that wonderful speech that he gave. Sort of detailing his past, maybe our future. I hope not, but I love that these two warring factions ended up choosing to join Starfleet. And like Ian, I thought the last 10 minutes was just great. We got to see Hemmer come aboard. We got to see Una finally in her proper uniform, not looking so disheveled and so dirty from being in prison. I like that. I like that a lot.
Any thoughts, Braxton, on this whole resolution?
Oh yeah, dude. I love that that he distracted them, and then he gave them a cause for unity, and gave them some perspective. Yeah, I thought it was I thought it was a good wrap up to the story.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, can't. You know, I like this little Marcelo. I thought of you when I saw this little reference to Star Trek Into Darkness
Oh, it was great.
over
It was
here with
great.
the
It was
Enterprise.
great.
Where's Don is saying I was uncomfortable with the people getting a bit too worshipy with our crew and ship. Yeah, that might come into play, you know, in the future. Who knows? Like, it might turn out to be another precarious situation on this planet. But I think they're advanced enough that they're not going to see, unlike the Nibiruans, being worshiping and like possibly
A
shaping
computer.
their religion. These guys are just gonna they know, you know, they know that these are not
I think it was
gods or whatever.
more hero worship because you
Yeah,
actually saw the scientists reverse engineering the
right,
Enterprise
right. That's
because you
right.
saw them doing that. So I think I think the general public there was hero worship, but the government forces and all that stuff. They, as I said, they've got technology now, so they were looking at reverse engineering the Enterprise. That maybe that their fleet will look similar to the Constitution class, maybe.
And like episodic television, we have a nice little wrap up to our thing. No cliffhanger, no cliffhanger at the
Woo!
end. It's
Yes.
a little
Sorry.
bow on top, as was promised, and so we have our little epilogue here on the station where Admiral April basically says, "Man, you guys went through a lot of shit." When he finds out what happened on Discovery, and you know he pops the question, you know, Chris, are you gonna give up the chair? Are you gonna stay on? And we find out from the next scene that not only does he decide to stay on, but he also invites Leon to be a permanent member of the crew. Yeah, and Dom's pointing out how good the station is. It really is.
Yeah. I
I
actually
lo-
like the bit. I like the bit when they're obviously saying they turn around and said they're going to call it the Prime Directive, and he goes,
Yeah,
"Yes, if that's going to
that'll
catch
never
on."
stick. It's true. That was really funny.
That'll never stick.
But
Yeah,
yeah, it's a gorgeous station, and then I like the story of how like when they didn't know about the fate of the Earth, they had sent out like pods of like little pods that had like genetic material of life on Earth and stuff like that, and eventually they have these forests in space now above Jupiter, which is crazy above Jupiter Station
That's
here.
really cool.
Yeah.
Starbase One is Tom says Starbase One is my husband. It's a dang good Starbase, Tom. It's a dang good Starbase. I have to agree with you. And then of course we get this beautiful scene of Pike saying that he's a lucky man and how Earth is his hearth, but Enterprise is his home, and kind of giving us a you know, like kind of coming back to the beginning of the episode when he looks at her with a little bit of resentment. Now he seems to have embraced her as his home again, and so we're gonna get a different tone, I think. Also, you know, he's probably gotten over some of his demons, not all of them, but some of them in this, and you know, we're gonna move forth. Father, he says, "Can I marry the Enterprise?" Yes, Father, you can marry the Enterprise. But there's one more surprise.
Oh my God.
Lieutenant Kirk, George Samuel Kirk, Captain Kirk's brother.
No, actually, no.
Marcelo obviously doesn't like that.
I'm sorry, but did how many people had flashbacks
Yeah, I did.
to Galaxy Quest? Really? Come on, flashbacks to Galaxy
It's
Quest.
a guy,
Come on.
yeah, it's true. And then we also see Hemmer, who I guess we'll see more of in the next
Next week.
episode.
He's gonna cook.
Yeah, he's gonna cook, I guess. And then we get this part. I just love Celia R. Giddings' smile here, and she's like, "Cool." When Pike is like,
Cool.
"Our mission, you know, is to explore," and he kind of re-gives the Strange New Worlds speech, and then he sits in his chair, and look at how gosh darn good he looks. I mean, that is Captain of the Enterprise right there, and such
is.
an iconic scene, and such a iconic way to get Pike in the chair to say let's go. And then of course we get these beautiful shots of Enterprise warping off into the next adventure, and that's it. We got our first, oh wait, I don't know why I just you alone. We got our first return to this era of Star Trek and a brand new show, and yeah, overall, I think a real big hit. Any final thoughts on? By the way, fun discussion, guys. But any final thoughts on those last scenes, and any final thoughts, and if you want to give a rating. By the way, I am gonna give this episode a 9.
Oh my
Mine!
god!
My God!
What?
I'm just
What
kidding.
the-
It's a 10. I just wanted to do that to see what
Oh.
your reactions were. This is most definitely a 10.
Oh my god!
I'd like to add. I do like the conversation we have with Lahan before he goes back onto the planet, because I think because she said that was it about knowing death?
Oh
There was
yeah.
that bit.
Oh yeah. We didn't touch on the Gorn.
We didn't touch that
thing,
on the
yeah.
Gorn story. So it was something
Yeah.
her father said to her that she then in turn said to Pike, and I think that helped Pike as well. I think that phrase helped him mentally to think, okay, I know what's going on. That maybe I can get over this and I can forge my future. So
Yeah, that was a beautiful
I think
moment and
that
a nice
was-
moment
that
of
was a good
connection. Yeah, between them. Very
Yeah.
nice. So
know,
what
it
do you give
sounds
this
like-
episode? If you're, oh, go ahead, Braxton.
Oh no, I was just gonna sound like it sounds like hell to have your body used as a birthing sac. When
Oh,
she
God,
said
yeah.
that, I was
Yeah.
imagining
Yeah,
like
no,
an alien like popping out of your chest. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, dude.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, totally. The Gorn, the Gorn are going to be interesting if we meet them and see that stuff. I don't think we'll see that kind of gore. Maybe we will. I don't know.
Are those
we
the things with the horns?
No, the Gorn are the green
No.
lizard people that Captain
Green
Kirk
lizards.
fought. The
Oh, right.
green lizard guy.
It's the one with the fight with the lizard man in Vasquez Rock, if you
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He talks like that.
Yeah.
So what's your rating there, Marcelo?
I really, really like this episode. Like I mentioned countless times throughout the stream when I wasn't kicked off. There are things from a story aspect that I thought could have been done a little bit better, but all that being put aside, I thought that this was a very solid first outing for Pike and his crew, and I really enjoyed this episode. So with that being said, I'll give this episode a 9. Oh, no, wait, oh, sorry, not a 9, an 8.
Right on.
One minus.
How about you, Braxton? What do you think?
So I give this episode a 10. I think that this was, the perfect setup, the perfect introduction to our crew. Like, I think that the story was tight. Like, I am really enjoying that. Like, I don't have any anxiety about what's going to happen next week because, like, we got this whole story. But yeah, dude, I'm totally on board. I'm a 10.
Excellent. And Dadmiral, give us your rating.
I'm going to give it a 9. So,
Nice.
as I said,
All high
I still
marks.
think there's more to come. I want to see more of the rest of the crew. I think we're going to get it as Mark, Marcelo and I said earlier. I feel it's good. I like we've got the old style of Trek again. Being a TOS Trekkie myself, I like that we've got episodic with. Obviously, we'll still have the character building up on that bit, and I was, think there'd still be impact from previous ones. But I like the way it's going, and it feels good. It feels like home. I like it.
Nice. I like that. I called it.
Feels like home.
I called it. What did I call it? Chicken soup for this Trekkie lover, Star Trek lover's soul. So yeah, it's a very good start to Star Trek. I'm very thrilled about it. I love the cast. I love the chemistry. I love everything. It was all presented so nicely. Certainly going to see looking forward to seeing where it goes. All right, so that's it, audience. Thank you. We got a bunch of 9s and 10s from the audience, a 6 even. So yeah, it's all very positive, all above 5. So 5 by 5, ready to go. Let's warp out there. Everyone, I do have to run. I want to give Jack enough time to get ready and stuff like that. So I'm just going to say, you guys know where to find these folks, but you can find Ian at I almost said your own name, at Dadmiral_UK. You can find Marcelo at Creek Fanatic 88 and Marcelo and Braxton at Leviathan 6.
026.
026. I always miss.
Almost
But
made
anyways, so check that out. You can find Starfleet Boy here and next on Trek Central. So go over to Trek Central and check us out. We're gonna do more fun discussions. Live
See you
long and
guys over
prosper,
there.
everybody.